Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing on The Scarecrow, 2000 animated film review. Now, as you know, The Scarecrow is a 2000 animated musical fantasy film that was written and directed by Brian Nissen as well as by Richard Rich. Now, Richard Rich is meant to be a filmmaker, and keep in mind that he, for a time, was the founder and owner of Crest Animation Productions, that were also known for doing films like The Swan Princess, Trumpet of the Swan, also mainly working on other continuations of the Swan Princess films, and were also known for doing animated stories based on the New Testaments. So eventually, them getting together with Warner Brothers to work on The Scarecrow, which is a mix of the short story Feathertop as well as the play The Scarecrow. So the premise of the film is meant to be about Polly, who is saving her money to get out of the work mill, and she's kind of got the three orphans known as Gretchen, Cooper, and Farley, who don't really play any real part. That is there to be the three kid characters, and pretty much are working in the workhouse mill, which is pretty much run and owned by Count Grisham. Now, keep in mind, Count Grisham is meant to be the founder of Grisham Heights, which kind of sounds like a sort of boarding school or a kind of like school area. And Count Grisham himself is meant to come off as vain, selfish, hypocritical, and is kind of like Jeffrey Beverfrin, who is made to be a character in Game of Thrones. And keep in mind that after Polly's money is eventually sort of discovered, this leads to the Scarecrow that had gotten to know Polly sort of trying to do things right, and after basically wishing to be human, ends up with a feather that grants him the ability to become human as an illusion. So the film itself, I would say, is more trying to be a serious film, but really can't be, because when the characters do go into dancing, they pretty much do different dance moves that didn't exist back then. And when you kind of got some of the characters, they either feel unimportant or just kind of feel a bit downgraded. Like when you kind of got the workhouse mill boss, Cheswick, he just kind of comes across as pre-Crocker from the Very Odd Parents. And when you kind of also got when Feathertop as the Scarecrow meeting Polly, they only meet each other for a day and then decide to get married after winning the contest. Which, okay, I can kind of nudge that. And when you kind of got Miss Beebe, who's meant to be the good witch and sort of helping the Scarecrow at the start and sort of explaining the story, she kind of comes across as more of the narrator and sort of explaining the story at the opening and then at the end. And I would say what Ballerina got right, it knew what ballet was. It knew what it wanted to tell. When you kind of got Disney movies, they actually know how to do the song, because when you've got the Lion King song, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, you really do feel a connection with Simba and Lala. When you've also got basically I Can Go the Distance, it's Hercules wanting to go further than he's already been. And I know other YouTubers like Lizzie Grome, also Tricky Fox, and Red Fen Brisket actually did review this movie, and I do give them some credit in pointing things out. And when you kind of also got the Scarecrow's friends and sidekicks, like Brizzles is more kind of like the annoying sidekick character, when you've got Max, he's trying to be the voice of reason. He's trying to get the Scarecrow to see sense. And I kind of disagree with Red Van Bursket that Max isn't really a dick. He's just trying to be a friend and a mentor, which I think we've all been the voice of reason or try to get people to see sense. And again, keep in mind, since this movie is meant to take place in the Salem First Settlers era, this really should have focused on what the dances were. It just feels weird to see characters dancing from moves that even haven't existed yet. And I think with Ballerina as well, it just sort of feels the same thing, because when they had the Statue of Liberty painted green, even though it wasn't, you had Felici wearing shorts, even though they hadn't been invented yet, and so many things. And I would say, given the fact this was done by the same guy who made the film Trumpet of the Swan, and also known for doing the other Swan Princess movies, you really know this is the starting point to where his career really starts to tank a bit. So I feel somewhere as well, when the characters do have the songs, they do work a bit, because when you've got Polly and Feathertop dancing, they really bring the emotion of the song to life. When you kind of got the workers working in the workhouse mill, it kind of gives you this hoping for a better life story. And when you've got Polly singing the song, We Are On Our Way, it really gives the feel that Polly wants that better life. So I kind of feel somewhere Scarecrow holded on to the feather, but let it go. So I think it deserves thumbs in the middle. It's kind of alright, not the greatest, but watchable. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.